Hi, this is Ali Arango of ArangoDigitalProduction.com, and today I want to show you how to do a muzzle flash in Blender instead of in After Effects. So let's get started. Okay, here we are in After Effects. So the first thing we're going to do is import our footage into After Effects, and basically what I'm going to do is show you how the technique is basically done in After Effects, and then we'll go into Blender and I'll show you how it's done in there. So the first thing we're going to do is go to File, Import. Here's our footage here. Bring this in, and we're just going to pull this down to our comp. And basically what we are going to do is we're just going to look for the point right where we want to put a muzzle flash in. So we'll start off right there. We'll use it. So what we want to do is just grab a muzzle flash image, and pretty much that's what it is. It's just an image that you use, and we're just going to use a common one grabbed off of the internet. Okay, so we'll just import the muzzle flash in. So we'll go again, File, Import, grab this image of a muzzle flash right here. We'll drag this down, make sure it's above your original footage. And then you basically just line this up where the gun is at. And you go right here, change this to screen mode. And then the thing is, you want this muzzle flash to only show for the one frame that it's showing. So in After Effects, the way what I would do to deal with this is I would just make sure my timeline indicator where it's supposed to be, and it is. Make sure I'm clicked on the muzzle flash layer, then I would hit Alt and then the left bracket key. And what this does is this cuts that muzzle flash frame right to this point. Then I'll hit page down 1, and then page down again. Then I'll hit Alt, bracket key again. Hope I have it for 2 frames, so I'll hit page up, Alt, bracket key again, just to make sure I only have 1 frame. So here's 4 frame, and then after, and that's just how we want it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to take the main photo layer. We're going to hit Control D to duplicate it. Then we're going to change the blending mode on here to screen. Okay, now with the screen blending mode on, we're just going to mask out the areas that we need as far as where the muzzle flash is at. So basically we need right here in her face. So just take the pen tool, go along the top of the arm here, then when you turn off the mask, you can see that it's too sharp. So you would just select that layer, go to mask, and feather it. There it goes. Now we'll do the same thing for her face. And then we'll just feather that. And then just this layer, it doesn't stand out too much, so I think what I'm going to do is actually throw curves on there and make it a little bit brighter. So we'll just drag curves right on top of the layer with the mask on it in screen blending mode, and just make that a little bit brighter. Okay, now when we go through, I'm going to hit page up. Okay, so there's right where the muzzle flash comes out. So what we'll do is I'm going to click on this layer right here. I'm going to hit T to go into my transparency mode. Set that, lock that keyframe in for 100% there. Hit page up. Go up 1 frame and turn this all the way down to 0. Now I'll hit page down, and then I'll go 3 more keyframes. So I'll hit page down 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then I'll turn this down to 0. So now we'll see when we go back. You can see she turns, she fires. There's the flash, and that's pretty much the gist of it as far as After Effects goes. So let's go into Blender. Okay, here we are here in Blender. If this is your first time using Blender, I recommend you go to File, User Preferences, go to Input, and then select But Left. And all this will do is that Blender's default select is with right click, and by choosing this will just make this more similar to After Effects. Okay, once you come out back to this window, what you're going to do is click right here, and you're going to go to the node editor. Okay, now what you're going to do is you are going to select this button right here. You're then going to select Use Nodes, and we'll set up the mode to bring in our footage. For the purposes of this tutorial, you don't need this renders layer, so you can just hit X to delete that. You're going to go Add Input. This is where our movie clip's going to come from. You're just going to go Add Color Mix. Add a image input, and then we need a Add Viewer also, and this will allow us to see our footage. Okay, and as we deal with this node editor, the best way to think of this, of the way it works, is it's kind of like After Effects layers, except instead of going from top to bottom, the node editor kind of runs from left to right. But what we're going to do now is we're just going to select Open here. We're going to find our footage and bring it in. And if you're looking for the footage, if you want to actually see what it looks like, if you click this button right here, it'll actually show you the image of it. So open clip. Once this comes in to see the actual footage, we can drag right from where this image out is over to the viewer input, and then select backdrop, and then we'll get a view of our footage. And then to zoom back, if you hit the V key, you'll zoom back. If you hit the Alt V key, you'll actually zoom in. Okay, now what we're going to do is bring our muzzle flash image in. So you're just going to click here, grab your muzzle flash. Okay, and with this in, what you're going to do is just come out from this image output into this image input right here. Then we're going to take this away from our viewer. This is our movie clip. It's going into our viewer here, and we're just going to take this from here, plug it into this mix node, and then come out of the mix node image back into the viewer so we can see what's going on. Again, now you see the screen turn black. All you're going to do is select right here to make it transparent. So now you have you can see your muzzle flash right there. So now in After Effects, you pull out your timeline indicator. Right here is the timeline and the indicator in Blender. What you're going to do is just right click and drag to where just like how we were in After Effects. In After Effects, it's page up and page down to do frame by frame. And in Blender, you're just going to use your arrow keys. So right there. So now what you're going to do to move this, the way you're going to move this in Blender is you're going to select Add, Distort, Transform, and then you can just grab this. When it comes in, you're already holding it. You're just going to drag it and pull it right here. All right. And now you're just going to use your X and Y controls just to move this up into place. You can see it's different, but the same. It's actually very similar to After Effects. I mean, granted, Is it a little bit harder to move with X and Y rather than just grabbing it like in After Effects? Yes, but you're also getting this. It's not even just the fact that Blender is free. It's the fact that for people that have After Effects and see this, like, oh, why would I use that? It looks more complicated than After Effects. If you're like me and you have multiple computers, just think about the fact that you can have multiple computers running multiple versions of Blender rendering at the same time. But anyway, yeah, once you have it moved into position here, now what you're going to do is you're going to go to your mix node, and basically the way your mix node works is this is the Blender the blending modes in Blender, and because this is coming into this input, the bottom input, and one thing different in Blender is when I first came from After Effects, because of the layers, you think top to bottom, and this definitely threw me for a loop. In here, the bottom input actually goes above. So this movie is behind and this flash is on top. Now my muzzle flash is on top. Now this blending mode will affect the node that's on top. So what we do, just like in After Effects, we selected you can screen, I believe, or edge work also. We'll go and we'll select screen in here, and just like After Effects, there you go. Okay, and also like After Effects, we only want this to show up for one frame. So basically, the way we're going to do that, just like this blending mode affects the top node, or if you're thinking in After Effects term, like what's on top, this factor also affects this node that's coming in here. All right, so basically the way Blender works is any slider you can keyframe. So with it set to factor 1, it's fully on. So what we're going to do now is the way you keyframe in Blender as far as the node editor, just hold your mouse right over the value that we're going to keyframe. You're going to hit I. All right, now what we're going to do is move forward or move backward, I should say, one frame by hitting the arrow key. Now we're just going to take this factor down to 0. We're going to hit I again. So now we're going to go back or forward one frame, and there it is. Then forward one frame past it. Now we're going to take this factor back down again and select I. So now you can see when I go back, okay, there it goes. And if she's coming, she's starting to turn. She looks, boom, there's a muzzle flash, and then it's out, just like After Effects and just how we want it. Okay, now what we're going to do is add the light that's going to be flashing when the muzzle flash comes in. So what we're going to do is in Blender to duplicate, and just if you're coming from After Effects, I guess the best way I can describe is yeah, you want to think of these like being layers. So what we want to do in After Effects, we hit Control D and we made a duplicate layer, and then we put screen. We're pretty much going to do a similar thing right now here in Blender. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our movie clip, we're going to select it by left clicking it, then we're going to hit Shift D, which is going to duplicate this movie clip. And basically this movie clip and this muzzle flash are blended together in this node here, and then it kind of like it ends at the viewer, right? So basically what we're going to do now is we're going to go we'll add another mix node. So we'll go add color mix, and now we'll do is take this mix node and put it here. All right, so what we're going to want is this on the top and this on the bottom, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to grab this, and this here puts that on the bottom. We'll put this back into the viewer node, that's why you can't see anything. So now that comes back, then we're going to take from this movie clip and run it in here. So now that's actually on top, very similar to After Effects. And now again, just like After Effects, remember this node on the bottom is affected by these blending modes here, and we have pretty much all the, as far as I know, most if not all of the effects of After Effects right here. So we're just going to select screen right here, just like we did in After Effects, and it gives us a brighter image, or the movie clip brighter. So we'll be able to mask this and make it look like the flash is putting that light right here and on her face, just like we did in After Effects. Okay, you're gonna have to bear with me as far as the nodes. There's a way in Blender to shrink the nodes, but I think you're actually better off having them being shown so you can see. And one of the nice things about video is you can always go back, you can pause if it starts getting confusing. And when I said has the effects of After Effects here, what I meant was the blending modes. Okay, so to put the mask on, to show just the mask, this lighted or screened version of this movie clip, we're gonna have to split the screen. So let me hit the N key, gives us a little bit of space. What I'm going to do now is hit my middle mouse button, pull and drag, and I'm also going to select right here, and this is going to allow me to split the screen. I know it's getting a little crazy, bear with me. What we're going to do now is you're going to click right here and you're going to go to Movie Clip Editor. Okay, and I'll drag this over to give us a little bit more space. Zoom out there so it's very small, you'll still be able to see a little bit. Okay, and what you're going to do, basically this movie editor will allow us to put the mask that we need on here. So you have this thing where you can open and search for the movie, very similar to how we did over there. But Blender will remember, it knows the fact that we are using this movie clip. So when we click here, it should, and there it goes, is right there. So we select right there, there's the movie clip. To zoom this one over in this version, in this movie clip editor, we just roll the mouse wheel in and out. And what you're going to want to do over here is I'm going to take my middle mouse button, click and drag right here. You'll see this thing that says tracking right here. You'll select here and you want to go to mask. Okay, to draw this mask, and I'm just holding my middle mouse button to drag here, what you're going to want to do, okay, to draw the mask, what you want to do is draw the mask in a counterclockwise version. Just trust me on that, counterclockwise. And to do that, what you're going to do is hold Control, and you're just going to right click on your mouse, and you'll see those points. And basically the way the points are pointing out, you want them to do that. And because we're drawing the mask in a counterclockwise fashion, that's why the points are going out like that. Other than dealing with the points, it's extremely similar to After Effects, to be honest. And then to close this mask, but you're not just going to click here, and that's what you would do in After Effects. In Blender, you're going to hit Alt-C. Okay, and then put the mask around the face. Let me zoom in a little bit. You're just going to go right here where you see the mask layers at. You're going to hit this plus. And again, you're just going to hold Control and draw in a counterclockwise fashion again. Be careful about getting too close to here, because if you're too close, a lot of times it'll jump and do like a little slight mess up. So then when you get close to the top where you want to close it, you hit Alt-C, just like we did before. Okay, now we'll go back to the other side, side right here, and basically to get this in, because we're still going to need this for feathering, but so it's not super cramped, you can actually see what's going on. You can hit Shift and space and it'll zoom in. I'll hit Alt-V to bring that up so you can see. So now what we're going to do is we want to the mask is created, so now what we have to do is put the mask on here. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go Add Mask. Let me give some space here. Okay, so Blender, again, it knows that you're dealing with mask, so you click here to see the mask, but it should remember that we're working on, and there it goes, the mask. So we select here, and basically you're going to go from this output into this factor input here. And there you can see the mask, and very similar to After Effects, of course, the mask comes in at first unfeathered. Okay, so now what we'll do is hit Shift Space so we can see this side. And the way the mask works is it's different, but it's still very similar to After Effects. You'll select the mask that you want to work on, then you're going to hit Shift and right click, and you're going to click, whoops, not that, you're going to grab right from the mask, like right on the edge of the mask, and pull out. And then you're going to left click to lock in. So I'm going to hit Shift Space to see this side. Now you can see it's blended fairly nicely there. So I'm going to hit Shift Space again. Same thing to the face. Select the face, hold Shift, right click, and drag right from here. And that green basically is my mask control. That's my feathering. That's how you can see like the degree of feathering that you're doing. Left click to lock in. And Shift Space there. Okay, we have a fairly decent feather on the mask now. Okay, so now all we really have to do to finish this off is we just have to keyframe the mask. So remember I told you one of the cool things in Blender is almost anytime you see a slider you can animate that slider. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add another slider in so that we can animate this mask. And the way we're going to do that, we're just going to go add color, and we'll just do it through another mix node. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this into the bottom here, and then into the top there. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn this black. And basically, again, this 1 represents 100%. So this is where the muzzle flash is. We definitely want that to be at 100%. So with the mouse over this value, we're going to hit I. So that's keyframed. I'm going to hit the left arrow key to go beyond this. I'm going to turn this all the way down. I'm going to hit I to keyframe it again. And I'm going to go one keyframe back or forward. There it's on. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Turn this all the way down and hit I to keyframe again. Okay, now you'll see when we hit the keyframe and we go back, you can see there's the mask coming in, not perfect, but you can see it's off there. There's the muzzle flash, and there she goes. So very similar to After Effects. I mean, obviously there's some more things you'll have to do in here compared to After Effects, but again, for anybody who's seeing this, like, oh, I can just do it in After Effects. No, you can't just do it in After Effects unless you you pay the fee for After Effects. I mean, After Effects, it's an awesome program. I love After Effects, use it all the time. However, even being someone who has After Effects and uses it, there's definitely an advantage to being able to do this in Blender, because just being able to take Blender again and just spread it out among computers, legally be able to, take different sections of a video you're working on and having all of those computers rendering at the same time is awesome. Or, hearing about somebody that is interested in doing some effects or working with you, and just being able to, hand them off a copy of a Blender, and, all they have to do, the only price of them learning how to do this is their ability to learn. So to render this out, what you would do is just hit Shift Spacebar. We don't need this anymore, so now you can grab this arrow and just pull over, and you'll see the screens will merge. And then what you can do is just make sure this right here, this viewer, is allowing us to see what's going on. This compositor is actually what puts out this as a video. So you just make sure this output is going to the compositor. Okay, now you would just set your keyframes for what you want to render. So we'll say, we'll take the arrow key and go back. Okay, and we'll say we'll set this to start at 120. Then we'll take it, let's see, we'll take it to 155. So you can just click here, Control C, click End, Control V. So now it's going to start rendering at frame 120, and it'll go on and render to frame 155. Okay, and this here is your render button in Windows and Blender. And what you're going to do here is you're just going to go down. Blender's default output is PNG. The way I set up my renders, I would recommend you set it up as H.264. You're then going to go to encoding, change this AVI to MPEG-4. And if you had sound, which this doesn't, but if you had sound with this, you would go to your, this is audio codec here, you would select here and go to MP3. Okay, and then the last thing, you would just make sure you know where it's going to go. So you select this folder right here. Pick a place for your video to go. You can name it if you want. Output. Accepted. And then you would just go up to here to this render button and select animation. And there you go. It'll render itself out. Okay, and that's it for the tutorial. I hope you guys got something out of it. As always, thank you for supporting this channel and for viewing my tutorials. I really appreciate it. And if you like these videos and you want to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for viewing.